Hey guys, morning. How you doing? Welcome to the Academy Answers podcast. My name is Lowen Carr, more popularly known as Lowen Motivator Carr, and I do this blog, I do this podcast, I do this social media, this online work, and also I have a couple of coaching clients in the area of personal development, becoming our best selves, understanding that the human experience has in it this magnificent promise to come up with something great in this world, to create something awesome. And we're all about using our God-given potential that is in all of us, not just in some of us, to produce, to create something that will ultimately lead us, that the pursuit of which will lead us to be living a better life. And if you notice, I said the pursuit of which, because a lot of times we are thinking about the end result, the event, and not realizing that life is not an event, life is a process. And the minute you climb one mountain, there will be another mountain to climb. So unless you enjoy the journey of the mountain, then your life will always be trying to pursue or chase something that actually doesn't exist. Like you're chasing a certain end, and by human nature, by our very nature, we are not created to go to an end, to stop at an end. There's always something more, and even if we don't know it, when we get to one thing, after a while, if you grow old with that thing, a certain type of emptiness will start to set in. There will be something in the spirit, and you'll lose meaning, and you'll wake up one morning and realize that you have a laundry list of things to accomplish, or that you'd love to accomplish, or that you'd like to contribute, and you are not able to, because you're out of time, out of energy, and most times out of money too. So we bring the message out here. I didn't choose it. This shows me I've been doing it before I knew that that's what I was doing. So the question this morning, what I do on this podcast is I answer questions at scale. So people reach out to me in comments, in emails, in messages to say, hey Lowen, what do you think about this? I listen to you, and this, give me your perspective, help me with this. So this morning's question is, I pick questions at random or sometime in some form of structured way, and I answer them using this podcast for a year and a half now, and just to bring this to other people, understanding that whatever we go through as human beings is usually common, and if I can answer it in one way, then it might help somebody who is either going through that problem or may end up in that same situation somewhere down the road. So that is the purpose, and that is the mode of this podcast. So this question is, Lowen, I've been going on and on and on. I've made so much sacrifice. I believe in my dream. I am doing it. I'm pushing. I get frustrated at times though. How much is this gonna cost? And how much more sacrifice? Sometimes I ask myself, the person say. And look, that is a powerful question. That is just really a fair question also, because you know what? We are humans. We all have goals. We have time limits on these goals. We're not here forever. So we naturally want to get there as quickly as possible. Success loves speed. Human nature loves speed. And when we have a goal, especially if it's lavish, and especially if it is about serving, we want to get to it, because the process is usually dirty. I mean, getting there, it's usually everybody against you. Nothing is saying yes. You're living in sacrifice, and that is pretty much like emergency mode. You are putting aside all the things, or a lot of things that you'd love to do, your vacations, your socializing, your luxury items, all these things, just to set the foundation so you can one day live at ease. So I imagine, I know that it's emergency mode. But I grew up in a rural community in Abuka, St. Anne, Jamaica, Caribbean. So we came from humble beginnings. There was not much. There's no TV. I often tell people that 3 cars pass through that community. It's pretty much like a farm. So it's not on the main. About 3 cars pass through that community. Less than 5 for the week. We didn't have to look to see the cars to know whose car was passing, because we know the time of day that the cars pass. So it was pretty much what they call rural, remote areas. And as a young boy, I never saw anything around me to inspire me. It was all farmers, subsistence farmers, meaning that farmers living off the land who planned to survive, and with very little surplus, that someone would come around every Saturday or Sunday and put it on a truck and take it to the big city and come back with some money, or maybe come back with some money for us next week, the following week. So everything was pretty much hand to mouth. Everything we had to produce and farm and create and cultivate everything that we need to survive. Most times the families in our neighborhood have someone who has migrated to the big city, so there would be some money coming in the mail, snail mail, taking a week or 2 weeks to come, and then that would help us to do other things like buy the things that we didn't produce. But for the most part, if you cannot you pretty much live off the land. You'd grow your crops, raise your animals for your protein and all that stuff. You have your cows for the milk. There is barter exchange, meaning I have the yams, you have milk, we exchange, and that sort of situation. And during the summer months, I used to like to be alone with my thoughts. So I spend a lot of time alone with my thoughts. And there's this apple tree. It's OTET apple, not regular American apple that everybody knows. It's OTET apple. There was this big apple tree, and it was kind of secluded. It was in a shaded, quiet place on the neighbor's property. And I used to kind of I hide from my friends and go under that tree and sit there. And I would sit under that tree and I would dream. I would close my eyes and I would see myself. Being successful. I would sit there, I would think about my cars, my home, what I was able to contribute, my businesses, and I would reflect on it, and it would come so real to me. And I always tell my grandma, I'm going to do great things, I'm going to achieve a lot of stuff. And she would say that, keep believing, you can do it. You are the one who is supposed to do it. You are born in a better era than your parents and your grandparents, so nothing can stop you from doing it. And she's always praying for me. And then as I started out going to school, being exposed to more, one day my teacher told me, I have a social studies teacher who I was very close to, and he told me that, Lewin, the dream is free. You can dream it all day. It is free. But nothing have a free process. So elements might be free, but the full process is never free. So anything that is worthwhile having will cost something. But the only way to do it is to make sure that you are pursuing something that is uniquely you And then even though the stakes are high, even though the price is high, you will be less likely, or you will be under less stress when you are reflecting on the cost. So I'm just saying that to say that once you're already in pursuit of something, you have had the dream, you're in the process, the next best thing to do is to not count the cost. Do not count the cost. Because the minute you start counting the costs, the minute you start to back off, the minute you start to say, let me let up, the minute you start to say, maybe tomorrow, or maybe I won't bother to try that again, that's where your opportunity might be. For somebody who's dreaming and going on and trying to get there, continue to push and push hard and push fast. Because when it becomes too expensive for you to give up, then you would have closed off your own options and appetite to give up. When it becomes too expensive to give up. So work so hard, do so much that you can't afford to give up now. And decide that, as Jim Rohn say, that you will do it until. You will do it until. Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about when. Because if you stop now, you will give up on living life you want. And nobody knows when. It might be tomorrow. It might be next week. But if you stop now, you will miss your opportunity, that which you have yearned and worked for. Most people gave up just at the point when they were willing to get their dreams. I don't know if you've heard about this man, gold miner known as Mr. Darby. Mr. Darby was mining gold back in California, I think, back in the days, and he was digging and digging and digging and digging and digging and digging and digging, and he couldn't find any gold. And when he was out of money, out of resources, out of patience, he said that I'm giving up on this gold project. And he was seeking some investors to sell out the whole thing. And as he brought one guy in, the guy said, okay, let me take a look at it. The guy brought his geologist in, and they did a study on what was going on there in terms of the depth that he dug and whether there was gold anywhere there. And after he said, yes, I'll buy. When Mr. Darby sold to him, the guy dug 6 more inches and struck gold. 6 more inches. And he struck huge quantities of gold. Because Mr. Darby gave up, but he didn't give up intelligently. He didn't avail himself with all the necessary plans, resources, and options. So sometimes when it gets frustrated, you have to seek out different angles, seek coaching, seek help, find out how other people are doing it, and keep on going. See if there's anything that you're missing, and just step back a bit and dig deeper into the process. But that's not the end of the story. Mr. Darby went on to be one of the most successful life insurance agent in the US after he missed out on that. So although he gave up on that, he never gave up on life and on himself. And he become extremely successful in another area. But he missed the one in the goal. I'm just telling you to step back, decide that you will continue, but step back and reassess your processes and your methods. So you are now at a point where you're saying to yourself, I'll never change the goal, but I might change the route and the methods that I'm using to pursue my goals. So have a good one, guys. Take care. Don't give up. Look at your methods. Look at your route and reassess, and do not count the cost. Have a good one, guys. Take care.